The Know Your Gear podcast.
Antique Rocker says, hey, could you review the new Kemper Profiler Stage Mark II? Should I make it my first modeling unit, or should I start with something simpler like what? So I have a Kemper, I have two Kemper units. So I have a Kemper, the main unit, the toaster oven that's powered. And then I have the Kemper, I don't know what it's called. So I have this one, which is a smaller one. I got this because, as you guys know, I was looking at UA pedals and a bunch of other things for a mobile rig. I had a HX Stomp. I liked it. I got this because I was like, well, it makes sense, right? The UA pedals were about $400 a whack. If I got them used, $250. A lot of you guys offered to loan them to me, which is great. I appreciate that so much. But either way, I was looking at like what the expense on this, and two UA pedals were going to cost what this unit cost. And I thought, well, I already have a Kemper. I already like it. So let me try this. A couple things that I don't like about the player is, in fact, every review that was negative, I didn't have any of the problems. I didn't mind that it didn't have a screen. I didn't mind doesn't have an effects loop. I don't mind that it's limited. I don't mind any of that stuff. I only minded that the app sucks on the phone. I thought the app was pretty not great, but I just plugged in my computer and downloaded my profiles into it, and I was good to go. So there's that. But my thing with Kemper is, for me, like I told you, I tried AxeFX, I tried the Kemper, I tried the Head Rush, I tried the HX stuff, all of it. I've had all of it for a length of time. I don't mean like I tried it in the store, tried at a friend's house. I mean, all of it was here for long periods of time. At the very least, out of all that piece of gear I just mentioned, nothing was here less than 6 months minimum. And I went through everything. And what I learned for me is the Kemper sounded great and it was easy for me to operate. However, nothing's easier than Head Rush to operate. And nothing's probably easier. After Head Rush, it's probably the Fender, what do you call it? Tone Master unit. And then after that, it's probably HX Stomp, or HX, I'm sorry, the HX stuff, the Line 6 stuff. So here's my, they also sound so damn good. Everybody's going to have hardcore opinions about this. Everybody's like, oh, AxeFX sounds the best. But it's also, to me, was the most confusing. Not confusing, just the most confusing. And for some reason, I just lent myself, I just leaned in and I liked the Kemper. What I would caution anybody is, if you're looking at this stuff, it almost, in my opinion, either be ready to sit down with the manuals and learn the Kemper or the AxeFX or whatever you want. Or if you don't find you're that kind of personality that can sit and learn this and learn, because I don't mean learn it like what jump screens. You need to edit, you need to learn. The sounds in them are not that great. That's why a lot of people, when they go, oh, these modelers and profilers aren't that great. Well, you got to kind of get in there and kind of dial it in. I would say Head Rush and Line 6 are the easiest if you want to just get into this and see if you like it. And I would almost say at this point, buy yourself a used Helix or used Head Rush and try that. I would really recommend that. And this is a good time to mention, like, you know, if you buy it used from the Guitar Center guys, they can ship it to your house and you get 45 days to return it. And there's no grief if you return it. You can walk it right back in the store if they don't have one in your store. You'll probably eat the shipping, which is on average $23. And you cannot, there's just that value in that is so good. To me, if I could, that's like, I could check something out for $25 for a month. And if I don't like it, return it and get a full refund for the $25 of the shipping, basically. Do it. Just do it. I keep telling you I always say this, you know, I met with the CEO of Guitar Center. You guys, a lot of you guys saw the interview. The takeaway I have from that interview is the same thing I said before I even met him. That's Guitar Center's strong suit. That's the thing that no one can do. You can't just buy something from a person on Reverb. That's a person trying to sell their stuff so they can put their money into their next, you know, maybe their rent, but also maybe the next guitar project. You know, Guitar Center has no issues with you buying something, trying it. If you don't like it, just return it. That's why they have that policy. That's how they get higher sales. Higher sale volume is you're more inclined to buy something if you can return it. I would highly recommend picking out a used piece of gear. You could do it with new gear with Guitar Center, but I think if you're not sure you want it, I think that's not very fair to them. The best thing about used piece of gear is if you buy a Head Rush or a Helix from Guitar Center, you know, in Minnesota, and you have it shipped to where you are, and you try it for, you know, a couple weeks and you don't like it, and you take it to your local Guitar Center and return it. Or you can ship it back, but if you have a local one, you don't have to pay the return shipping. They'll just put it in their store and they'll sell it. And for the same price, they just put it for the same price you did because it's not any more. Well, technically, I guess it's more used now, but you understand. That's not how it works. So that's what I would definitely recommend. A lot of people are talking about the Tone X. I liked Tone X. My complaints with Tone X is sound-wise, I was happy with it. I just didn't like their interface either. And again, if you have Tone X and you're like, I like it, that's great. It's not the quality. Notice I'm not talking about the quality of sounds because I don't think that matters. If you can't actually hear, let me put it this way. This is not like an amp where there's 3 knobs and the variables are very simple. Like if you turn one knob all the way and it sounds bad, just start backing off until it sounds good. That's a pretty straightforward thing. With this technology, it is a know your gear system. In other words, I don't care if somebody says I'll fight. Let's fight. Ready? If somebody says the Axe FX is better than Headrush, I would argue, is Headrush with somebody who knows how to dial in the sounds and get a good sound, is that better than Axe FX with somebody who can't even figure it out and just going through the presets that are already in there? I'd argue Headrush wins, right? Maybe you'll disagree. That's okay. We can disagree. But I'm saying when it comes to the technology aspect of gear, your knowledge and how to execute it and use it it's more important than the sounds they give you, because you have to be able to go in there and find that sound that sounds good. And so that's what I said. That's why I push anyone who's like, I'm getting into this. Trust me, get into the ones that are easier to use first. Don't worry about it. And ironically, the least expensive ones are the easiest ones to use. And the Headrush to me was just, they got a touch screen. It's like an iPad. So it's pretty basic. And a perfect example is the first time I ever got an HX Stomp. I took it, I plugged into it, and I went, nah, and then I put it aside. And then one day I go, okay, I'm going to get this out. I'm going to get in it. I watch 20 videos. I pull up the software. I pull up the manual. And then I was able to dial in a sound. And by the time I got the sound right, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this is really good. But I wouldn't have thought that if I didn't learn all the other stuff. So, yeah. So, like I said, that's what I recommend. If you don't, let me go back. I'll tell you also if this helps too. Antique rocker. If you don't think that you are and it's okay to not be a technology person. It has nothing. Most engineers are in their 50s and 60s right now. It's not an age thing. Okay, it's just some people like technology and some people just don't love it, especially when it's on their free time. Like I said, I don't want an app on my phone because when I'm working, I'm with my phone. When I'm not working, I don't want to be around my phone. But I will tell you something to think about. If you think you're not a technology person, but what you want is all the advantages of what the profilers and the modelers give you, and maybe it's not about portability. You're not looking for 50 sounds that take on the travel go. You just want really good sounds, but you don't, you want to be able to record them because that's usually a big deal, right? You want to be able to record them or have them at low volumes. I highly recommend the Universal Audio Aux. It's $1,500. It's a lot of money. Okay. I could take any one of these amps, anything you see behind me. This is the super loud hand-wired 1974X, the Magtone. I can take anything that's here. I don't care how loud. I can take a 100-watt plexi. I plug it into the aux, the Universal Aux box, which is an attenuator, but it's also, and I can literally send that to my computer, and it's going to sound on par with my Kemper in every way. And for the most part, again, if you're arguing that, you're arguing the 1 or 2% difference, which I'm just not going to argue that, right? When somebody's like, well, I don't know, technically one's better. Technically, yeah, but we're talking about, and Sean Brooks says, what about the Boss IR2? I just don't know, Sean. It's not that I don't like the IR2. I've just never tried the Boss products. I've told you guys before, channels, whatever the size, just a lot of companies don't send a lot of gear this way. I'm not saying that everybody should send me gear. I'm just saying like a lot of that stuff when it hits and you see the 50 YouTubers all talk about it, I'm just not a lot in those campaigns a lot. And so UA and Boss have never sent me a product. And with the UA, why I decided to go with UA Auxvox, and this is, And this is just as brutally honest as I can be about something. I only own a universal aux box because every YouTuber who got sent one had one a year later. I noticed that. All the YouTubers that praised the other stuff, I noticed that stuff wasn't being used a year or two later. I'm skeptical of YouTubers just like you're skeptical of YouTubers. I'm skeptical of myself. No, you get it. You know, right? I get why you'd want to doubt everything that the YouTubers say. And that's why, like I said, I try to be as upfront about everything I can, and you make your educated choice then. But what happened with UA was I would notice after a couple years, everyone who was like praising it still had one. I still saw it on YouTube channels. I still using it, not just hanging out in the background as background filler. It was being used. And same with rock stars had them on stages. And so how I got my UA, and I've told you guys this up front, Sweetwater asked me to do a sponsored video for something. And I said, hey, I have a great idea. Instead of paying me or giving me gear, could you send me an aux box? And if I like it, I'd like to keep it. And I'll do a video of the aux box too. I just want to try an aux box because, at that time they were $13, now they're $1,500. And I said, I'm skeptical, like, because, everybody said it was great. You just don't know. And that's what happened. So I didn't do it, I did the video that they pay, were going to pay me for, but they sent me the aux box. So I did the video they wanted, and I did a video on the aux box. And that aux box video is, you'd have to look. I want to feel like I did that 4 years ago. I've had the aux box for a while. I have it sitting right here. So I have it sitting right here. I just don't have it on, but I absolutely love it. So, and if you have I told you guys in that aux box video, so that helps, I gave some suggestions how you could use 2Notes, which is a lot less money. So when I say, the aux box, I'm not telling you the aux box is best. I'm telling you, I have it, I like it, I use it. 2Notes though, is good. I in that video of the aux box, which probably didn't make the aux box happy, I showed how the 2Notes could be just as good. My main thing about the aux box and 2Notes is aux box, and this is my analogy, and this will also help you make a decision. I think UA, Universal Audio, especially the aux box, it's like Apple products. I think it's quality. I think it works. I think it's dummy proof. And if you want to change a lot, you can't. So I would liken, if you want, like the 2Note stuff, maybe the Boss is like that too, I don't know, where if you're really into getting down the nitty gritty and figuring stuff out, you can do stuff, but with aux, it's like you don't get a whole lot of choices. The interface is very weak. It's just like Apple. It's got its own proprietary power cables and weird crap. But like Apple, you could I'm a moron. I could turn on an Apple product and literally without thinking things are happening. Same thing with aux box. It's dummy proof. You just turn it on, you set it, a couple settings if you want on your tablet, and you just go. So that's why I suggest things to new people like that, but it's expensive. But I would stick with my original suggestion, which is some kind of more basic modeler. So if you like this clip and you'd like to watch another one, you can click right here. And if you want to see the entire episode of the podcast, you can click right there. As always, thank you for your time and know your gear.